Hi guys, it's Rachel from the future. I recorded this episode about 2 weeks ago and then decided that it was kind of crazy and I decided not to post it. But since I haven't been able to record an episode in the last 2 weeks, I decided that I was going to go ahead and post it. Hopefully this week I will record another episode, and I hope that you guys are having a great summer. Bye! Hello! Welcome to episode number 7 of the Purls Swine podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Lambwoman, on Periscope as Lambwoman, and on Ravelry as Lambwoman02. And I actually periscoped just a little tiny bit ago. I did my first ever periscope just because I keep thinking about doing it and I need it to just rip off the band-aid. I think it's about 4 minutes long. Odds are you're not actually going to watch this in time to actually watch the periscope, but just in case you do, you can go watch it. Although I shared one whip and one thing of yarn because it was really just sort of a pre-podcasting. I want a periscope, so I'm going to periscope, periscope. Maybe it wasn't that exciting. Okay, it wasn't very exciting, but I just wanted to do it so I could do it, and I think it would be awesome in the future, since I've been podcasting every other week, if I could periscope every other week. That would be cool. But yeah, it was surprisingly hard. Well, not surprisingly, it was not surprisingly hard. I feel like I've gotten used to talking to myself through podcasting. Not that I have that many episodes, but on Periscope you're talking to yourself and possibly other people. So I think I would like it if I definitely had people that were talking to me and I knew that they were going to respond back. Today's date! Today is Monday, July 20th. And I live in North Carolina. I probably always say that, but, just in case you need to know that. I live in North Carolina. So let's get knitting. What is I starting with? Whips. First bag. So one day last week, I was having a super bad day, because I've been mentally ill. As I told my husband. I've been kind of mentally ill, and so I was feeling crappy, and I decided that I would go to my local yarn store and get some yarn and cast something on that day. And this is what I got. It is hedgehog fibers in the boombox colorway, and this is pretty much exactly what it looks like. It is singles. It's my first singles ever, and I'm really enjoying singles. I feel like, here's the ugly butt of the yarn. I'm really enjoying singles. I want to knit every shawl ever now out of singles, because it just feels so fancy. So what I'm making with it is my own shawl that I made up. I started knitting talisman shawl, and then I got really bored with it because it's a lot of knitting and purling and knitting and purling and knitting and purling, and then every, I don't know how many rows, but not often enough for my tastes, you did this star stitch. And this is not the best yarn for this pattern, but that's okay. So you do this star stitch, which is really fun to do. It's really easy. But I got bored. So I decided that I would just design my own shawl. And I'm calling it the 1000 Yellow Daisies shawl. And I have a plan for a flower lace motif at the bottom, and I think it's going to be really awesome, and I'm really, really hoping to actually type it up and put it on Ravelry. So if you're interested, keep your eyes out for me asking for test knitters, because I will accept anyone and everyone who is thinking about knitting it, because I don't have any grand plans to make like thousands of dollars. I just have an idea and I want to try it. I guess it's like the exact same theory as the periscoping theory, was I just want to do it once to see what happens. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm really enjoying it though. I think it's pretty. It is really potato chippy because you're not really doing anything for that long. I think there's like 4 or 6 rows in between the slipped stitches, the drop stitches, and the flower motif. So to me, I feel like it just flies off the needles because you're not like stuck in any particular mode. Yeah, you do get, I'm sure like most shawls, you will get into that like no man's land of purling at the end, when those get really, really long. But I'm really excited about this because it's exactly what I want, and I think it's working out beautifully. Next whip. You have been hearing about this one for a long time, and I haven't even done it yet. I hadn't even started yet until this week. Oh, first of all, I had an I frogged something this week. I was working on the Because I Love You cowl, and I frogged it because I realized, and it wasn't the pattern, it wasn't the yarn, I just realized that maybe I'm not a cowl person, that might be the problem. I was kind of freaking out the whole time that it was going to be like all up in my neck, and so I decided to frog it because I had Lulu Did It yarn, I really loved that yarn, and I just was, as I was stressing about whether or not it was going to be too hot and how I wasn't going to like it, part of my stress was that I really didn't want to lose that yarn to a project that I didn't love, and so I frogged it, and I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind for later, and yeah, but I have the yarn, and that's awesome. So this is my citadel. I don't know why I did this like this. You know what? I realized that as I've been editing, I realized that every single episode, I apologize for how weird I am. And that's weird because I don't consciously feel ashamed of how weird I am. So I'm going to try not to apologize anymore. And when I do apologize, I'm going to edit it out because I'm not sorry that I'm so weird. I love the fact that I'm weird. I think it makes me awesome, and I think
you just said that you're sorry that you're weird.
I did. Yeah. See, Hannah called me on it. I personally enjoy podcasts that are weird, and yeah, when people let their freak flag fly, as I think Jenny Large said. This is The Citadel by Joji Locatelli. This is the back. You start with the back shoulders, and then you do the front, and then you do some arm shaping, and then you attach it at the... Okay, so that's what it looks like on the back. But the cardigan, I actually started this because I saw Amy of the Periscoping Sisters and Debbie, I think they were both going to do it, and then they decided not to do it, but I had already decided that I was going to do it and that I loved it. I ended up having to swatch for this 3 times. 3 times, people. So I started out with this swatch, right, and then this is what she recommended. Well, maybe not this weird shape, but yeah, she recommended, I think it was like 20 stitches and then a certain number of rows. So I did that, I measured it, and then she also had a swatch amount for the cable. So I did that, and I was way off. I think this was supposed to be like 3 inches and it was 4 inches, so it's way off. So I swatched again with, I think it's with a size 4 instead of which I don't have that, instead of a size 5, and that was like the right, or no, instead of a size 6. Anyway, that was the right amount. So I went ahead and I started it, and I got this far, which probably looks exactly like the other one. See, now I have 2 of like the same thing. But as I was doing it, you can't see either one of these. As I was doing it, well, here, I can hold it up to me. You can see that this does not look like it would actually fit me. So I was starting to kind of freak out that it was going to be way too small. And this was 50. This was one 50-gram ball minus the 2 pieces I took out for swatching. So it was. I mean, this is close to 5%, I think, of the sweater. Is this. So I wasn't really sure. I knew it was going to stretch some or grow some after I blocked it, but I wasn't really sure how much. And so I did a 3rd swatch. And this swatch, I did just the cabling. I did both patterns. There's two different charts of cables on this. So I made it nice, and I feel like this is decently sized. And then I measured it before and after blocking to see how much it would grow. And it grew from 13 centimeters to 15 centimeters. And the funny thing is that this was 13 inches, so I knew that it was going to grow 2 inches, which is a lot, but it wasn't quite as much as I needed it to grow. I needed it to grow probably 3 inches. So I decided, and this was with a size 5 needle. So, and the fabric was also is also pretty dense. I wasn't loving that. So I decided to go back to size 6 needles and do what I did before. It's just a little bit bigger, which is what I needed. I just needed it to be a little bit bigger. And the fabric it's actually stretchy and softer instead of it's not as dense. It's a good feeling fabric. So I'm almost done with 50-gram ball. So I'm right back where I was. So it's kind of sad that I had to scrap 5%, but I'm really glad that I didn't just keep going, because I hopefully will still end up with a good sweater that will fit me. So yeah, that was something I didn't consider swatching for though, was measuring how much it grows before and after, which is something that, and this, I'm not usually a swatcher, but I normally am just doing socks or shawls. This is my first adult sweater. I've done kid sweaters, but anyway, so that's something to consider next time you're swatching, is to measure it before and after, just to see how much it grows, especially for a sweater, because then, as you know, if you're trying it on and you're like, oh, this is too small or this is too big, or you can just keep in mind, well, it's going to grow this much. So, because that was something I'd never ever thought of. Again, this is Citadel by Hoki Locatelli, and I am knitting it in Knit Picks Swish, which is their worsted weight 100% superwash merino. My next one is, oh, that's where that is. I put this in here to hide it from my kids. Look at this sparkly washi tape. If you buy something from my shop, you might have sparkly washi tape if I haven't lost it when you buy it. Anyway, this is my Budding Bluebells shawl. I believe, oh, dang, I really like to stop in the middle of rows, guys. This is how big it is. It's getting pretty big. I was where the stitch marker is at the last episode, and I am, where am I? I'm about 3/4 of the way through the lace with this. So that's really exciting. I am kind of bored with this project, and I kind of want it to be over. Which is sad. I think I'm probably really gonna like it once it's done. I think it's gonna be great, but for right now, I'm just kind of over it. I think doing this is what made me realize. I think doing this one made me realize what I like, what I need in a shawl, and what I like in a shawl that I need for it to change up. And doing the same thing for so long was just kind of boring for me. So that's good that I now know what I'm looking for in a shawl. I need it. I need variety. I need it to change up with color or stitch patterns or something. Yeah, it's Budding Bluebells. It's by Mina Phillip. I dyed that yarn myself, and I don't know what else to say about it. Okay, my next and final work in progress is my Saturday matinee socks. I have not gotten tremendously far with them. I have done the heel, and I'm working on the gusset decreases, and I will be at the lace section soon. And this is by, oh, I can't remember her name. She did the, it's Orange Knits on Instagram. She did the what are they called? Rose City Rollers. See, I bet you were like screaming it at me, weren't you? She did the Rose City Rollers, which you already knew because you've already heard about these because everybody's making them. Yes, and this yarn, I also dyed myself. It has a little bit of variation in it that you cannot see. You can see a little bit. But it is a raspberry magenta-y color. And I do really enjoy it. I want to dye up some, but that has a little more of an obvious like whitish section and a more obvious like darker section. I'm gonna try that. I have a hoe. One sock. This was my one and only self-striping yarn that I've ever striped. These gray spots are where some of the dye got where it shouldn't go. I do really like these socks, but they were a pain in the butt to dye, so I don't know if I will ever do it again. Maybe. Maybe. It was fun. but it's fun to see it. What did I say about these? Oh yeah, these ones have a funny story to them. Just wave them around. I'm starting to get something else while I tell you my story. So I did that one. I did the heel on that one, and then I couldn't find the heel, the other one, and I was actually a little bit excited. Not excited. No, I was not excited that I couldn't find it. But when I found the other one, I was not excited that I actually found the other one, because in my brain, as long as it was lost, it was finished. And now that it's not lost, it's not finished, and that's kind of sad. I had to look at myself for that face. Yeah, so that's kind of sad. So, yeah. So they went from mentally being a hoe, or an FO, to now they're back to being a hoe, which is where they really belonged, but it was hard for me to accept that fact. Okay, so my only FO is... And again, I can't remember where I was with these socks on the last episode. I really don't know. I have no idea where I was. But here I am now. They are done. They were supposed to be for the grocery girls. Fancy feet knit along. But did I actually remember to post them? I did not. It was really sad. But that's okay. So I did make this pattern up, but I'm sure there's other patterns like it. You just have to look them up. But it's just like a slip stitch cable. That's all it is. And I think it looks really cool with the yarn. The way the cable has a bigger stripe than the yarn does. And I really like the heel. One really cool thing. Oh, this was my first German short row heel. One really cool thing is how the stripes match up on the heel, which I obviously did not plan, but I'm not complaining because it looks really cool. And it did do that for both socks. And I think it is super duper magical. And one thing I did with this one, I can't remember what it's called. I did something different, and now I can't remember what I did. But this heel turned out slightly better, less holy than this one. It's, I did all the German short rows, and then I knit all the stitches like you do with a Fitchless Kiss heel. I knit all the stitches, and then I did it again. And that made for a much less holy, although that big hole is because I like dropped some stitches and then it was like all over. Yeah, it made for a much smoother feeling heel. And I need to look at Mina's directions a little more closely to see, maybe that's what she did. I don't know. I need to look at them a little more closely to get a better handle on the German short row. It's over here. But that about covers that. So that was my one and only FO and my needle dreams for this week. Besides all of the things, my one big one is Jelly Roll socks by the same designer that did the Rose City Rollers and the Saturday Matinee socks those, at first I wasn't going to buy that pattern because I was like, whatever, I can figure this out. And then as time went by, I was like, but it's only $2.50 for the first week, and I need to just buy it right now. So I did. And I think those will be a great, like, scrappy sock. I think this will be a great scrappy sock pattern to use up things. You can do a lot of different fun things. And that Orange Knits, she does some amazing scrappy socks. If you look at her Instagram feed, they are so gorgeous. And they make me want to do scrappy socks on purpose because they're just beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. She just has a really good eye for color and design, and yeah, I wish I was as awesome as that. So moving on to acquisitions. As I said, I was having kind of a rough day one day last week, and I had to go to the yarn store. So when I went to the yarn store, I got, as I said, that hedgehog, and I got, I also got, my local yarn store has spun right round, which I think is pretty cool. This is spun right round. It's the Crowded Cloud colorway, and it is so pretty. I'm gonna unwrap it because it's just so pretty. I love this like hot pink, which probably came from the purple. Yeah, it's just so pretty. And it's also Corriedale. Is it Corriedale? Corriedale? I think it's Corriedale. It's 75% superwash Corriedale and 25% nylon, which is pretty cool. I've never knit with Corriedale before. It feels a lot like BFL, but I'm excited. I think it'll make some really pretty socks. I think it could make some really pretty Don't Touch Those Leaves socks. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I realize that I think everything will make really pretty Don't Touch Those Leaves socks. Yeah, I think it would make really, really pretty Don't Touch Those Leaves socks, and that it would look more. Oh, that's another pattern that I'm really excited about. I don't remember. I already bought that one too. I need to stop buying sock patterns because I have, that makes six sock patterns that I have purchased and not made. But 4 of those are Mina's. So, but still, 6. That's a lot. Okay, obviously that's what I'm not allowed to buy anymore. But I can keep buying yarn. So yeah, it's a little bit rougher. As I said, more like a BFL. But I'm excited to see what kind of socks I'll make. I think I'll make a nice, sturdy sock, which is good. Moving on. Oh, this was the other thing that I purchased. It is, well, I got these stitch markers. These are my favorite stitch markers. I got these, found these on Etsy, and if you look on Etsy, I think you might, have to search for like pear, what's it called? Pear safety pin. If you search for pear safety pin, you will find lots of people selling these on Etsy and on, you can actually get like a gajillion of them on eBay. But those ones you couldn't choose whether you wanted silver or black or gold. They just all came together. So I got like 50 of these for like $4 or something crazy like that. So there are plenty of places on Etsy, if you look, that will sell you 20 for like $5. Don't buy those. Buy these, because you get 50 of them. But they were labeled like pear safety pin. They were not labeled as stitch markers because the person selling them did not know what they had. But those are my favorite stitch markers because I tend to lose stitch markers, and because these are so small that I don't I find that I don't have much laddering with them. But it's a little bit ironic because as you just heard, I obviously spent way too much time trying to find the cheapest ones I could find. And then I bought this holder to put them in for $13. But that's okay. I pretty much bought this. This is from Chicken Boots. And I pretty much bought this because of the fabric on the back. I love this fabric. And I looked on Etsy and I found this fabric. And I'm hopefully going to get some and make some project bags with it. Because I love it. I think it's awesome and beautiful. I think it's called Tula Pink Elizabeth, maybe, which is also awesome. Because you probably don't know this, because I've probably never mentioned it. My oldest daughter's name is Elizabeth. I get that it's Queen Elizabeth, but it does make it funnier to me that this is Elizabeth. Yeah, I definitely bought it for this little thing on the back. But I really like it. It has it has like a different zipper. I don't know. It's a cool zipper. But I like it. Another finished object that I did not share because I was going to, but then I forgot to write it down. I made this bag. This is my first ever paper piecing because I saw somebody on Instagram, Polka Dot Creek on Instagram. She posted like some bags that were quilted. One was a strawberry, one was a teapot, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to make a quilted sheep. And so I looked around and I found a pattern on Etsy and I bought it. And then when it came, I was like, oh, I actually don't know how to do this. So then I Googled like how to paper piece. And there was a free little Craftsy tutorial that came with this pattern. And told you how to paper piece. And having done this, there's no way I can do that sheep one, like ever. And then the very next day, Polka Dot Creek posted a sheep bag. So I may have to be purchasing that sheep bag at some point in the future because I definitely can't make it. Or I can ask my mother-in-law to make one. Because actually, if you Google Amy Stewart Windsor, you will find my mother-in-law. She is an art quilter, and she teaches classes, and so she could really probably make me a gorgeous sheep if I really wanted one. But anyway, so I learned how to make this bag, and I hit myself in the face with it. The tutorial just showed you how to make this, the pinwheel. Once I made the pinwheel, I was like, I should put it in a bag. And I might make more of these bags because I do think it's kind of pretty. And I'm interested in getting better at the technique, and I don't know why I keep just hitting myself with this bag. Yeah, it's pretty. I like it. So that is it from knitting-ish stuff. So if you don't like listening to me blabber on about my life and shop-related pieces of information, I do have one skein of yarn that I'm going to show and talk about. But anyway, if you want to go, that's totally cool. I do it from time to time. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later. So on to lifey stuff. As I mentioned, and I decided to move this and start doing lifey stuff at the end because I do appreciate it when podcasters do that. Because sometimes you just want to see knitting and you don't care about their lives. And other times you really do care about their lives. So if you care about my life, as I mentioned, I've been mentally ill, which it helps me a little bit to think of it that way, that I'm sick, because I have been. So I don't really know what else to say about that, but I really appreciate that Shannon of Succenter talks a lot about it. And I have, in general, in real life, I talk about it all the time. It's not something that I don't talk about. So I did want to sort of mention it this episode of the podcast and maybe in the future. But that is something that I struggle with. And obviously there's a lot of people I know I'm not alone at all. So I'm not really sure what else to say about it. Things will get better eventually. I'm still working on getting the right medication, and my youngest daughter is going to be going to preschool in the fall, and so hopefully when she goes to preschool, I plan to start seeing a therapist regularly. I was seeing one in the spring, but she wasn't really the greatest fit for me, and it's so stressful to get babysitters that it wasn't helpful, because it was just something stressful in my life. So and that's not how it should be. So I'm hoping that in the fall, when my daughter goes to preschool, I will be able to pick that up. And my oldest daughter sees a therapist once a week, so I guess technically I see a therapist for 10 minutes once a week, but it's always just talking about my daughter. But it's better than nothing, because she's absolutely a source of stress and anxiety. Just the other day, she was really mad at me, and so because she has severe anxiety, she pretty much views. Sorry, I'm working on my knitting. I just realized that I just laying down I'm working on my knitting. She pretty much views everything that she's anxious about is my fault, and so she just blames me for everything, and she's really pretty type A, and I'm really not, and so she really just wants all of her ducks in a row at all times, and it just really annoys her that I do not have everything together at all times. And she also has this perception, because that's the thing about anxiety, it's a perception problem. Your perception is off, and so her perception is that pretty much every other mother out there is perfect and has everything together, and all these other kids, don't have any of the problems that she has, because she, has me as her mother, and has 3 younger siblings, and all these other things. Anyway, so the funny, not so funny thing that she said yesterday, she was really upset at church, and she was crying about something, and she asked me, "Why don't you have tissues like a normal person?" So that's just the kind of thing that she says. And when you're already dealing with depression, that's not really the easiest thing to have. And you know what? I just realized that I've been knitting when I should have been purling. Okay, no more knitting and podcasting at the same time, guys. Dang, that was like the whole row. Yeah, no more knitting and podcasting. So now I will tink and talk. Yes, that's some of what's been going on. Trying to think what else. Been good things. We're getting ready for my sister-in-law's getting married in July. That's really exciting. We're getting ready for that. Yeah, just general life. We've been enjoying going to the pool a lot. Our next door neighbors have a pool, which is better than you having a pool, because we don't have to do any of the care and maintenance on it. And they're the nicest people in the whole world. And they're happy to let us use their pool, because it also sort of validates the fact that they have the pool in the first place. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. We also belong to the YMCA, so we go, we have 3 different pool options, because we live 15 minutes away from 2 different YMCAs. So that's really great. And my 4-year-old has been learning how to swim, and that's really exciting to see. It's interesting how different kids just learn these things differently. My other 2 were definitely afraid of swimming, and she's not as afraid. It's really, really exciting. So shop stuff. The one scan your arm. So I have some. I don't really want to talk a lot every week about, or not every week. I don't podcast every week. I don't know why I always say that. I don't really want to talk a lot about my shop all the time, just because I don't want this podcast to be an infomercial for my shop. But I thought that I will probably share like one little thing every week, or every episode. There you go again. Just to, because I know we all like looking at yarn. Anyway. So this is my thing. Oh, and I do still also, I want to keep sharing what I'm learning about dyeing. And so I hope to share sort of a skein of yarn and a piece of information about how I dyed it, to help, if you're learning how to dye or whatever. Yeah, that's what I hope to do. So here is the skein of yarn. I'm calling it Secret Garden. I actually dyed this because I was looking at a yarn that somebody else had dyed, and I was thinking about buying it, but I was like, oh, but I really wish it had more. It was like pink, and it had some, I think, maybe brown speckles and a little bit of yellow. And I was looking at it, and I was like, well, I really like it, but I wish that it had more yellow in it. And then I was like, you know how to dye yarn. Why don't you try to make one that has the more yellow in it? And then it also turned out that the brown that I had, which I hadn't used before, is not brown, it's green. So I have to contact Dharma about that, because this, and I double checked the website, this is supposed to be brown, but it's green. So the end result that I got is actually barely resembles the original inspiration. So I don't feel like I've copied someone else. And I'm totally okay with copying somebody else for my own purposes, but I wouldn't sell something that I've copied from somebody else. So maybe it was better in this game. Anyway, so it has some ballerina pink. I am just loving this. Like, loving this. It has some ballerina pink, and it has magenta, and yellow, and green speckles. And I feel like it just reminds me of like a beautiful flower garden. Okay, here it is. Again, not that beautiful job of wrapping it up. Whatevs. Anyway, my husband says, when I showed it to him, and was like, look how beautiful it is. He says it looks like it has mildew. Which, once he said that, I was like, it kind of does. But I still think it's beautiful. I love all the pink and the yellow and the green. And yeah, like I think this is so, yeah. And this is like me. This is very me. My favorite colors are pink and yellow. So this is, yeah. This is my skein of yarn right here. So this will probably be going into the shop soon, because I love it. And I would love to make a gajillion more of them. Oh, and my one thing that I learned that I was going to share. So I figured out how to get these speckles that are like, see how this is like an individual dot? You mix the dye with salt. Sounds a little weird, but somehow it works. I know, it's kind of crazy, but it totally works. Yeah, so you mix the dye with salt, and that breaks it up because the dye is pretty clumped together, and and then that helps you get sort of like the individual granule of speckling, which is really, really good to know. So that's your one piece of dyeing advice. Goodness, like all these sounds coming out of my body today. So that is it. I think that's it for this week. I hope that you enjoyed your time with me. This looks like it's going to be kind of a longer episode, which I hope is okay for you, but I feel like I broke it up so that you could leave if you wanted to leave already. I hope you have a great week. Please subscribe if you do not already subscribe, and we'll see you later.